Esto sucedió en las entrañas de Buenos Aires, un 4 de marzo. El interno 86 partió con destino a Plaza de Mayo, pero nunca llegó. Durante 5 días nadie pudo entender lo que estaba pasando. E intentar comprenderlo era un viaje al límite de lo imposible. ¿Fue una casualidad? ¿Un hecho premeditado? ¿O una teoría científica?
¡No puede ser!
¿Estás seguro de lo que está diciendo?
¿Qué se perdió qué?
Las luces detectan el paso de trenes donde no los hay. O sea, fallan. Se producen cambios de vías aun cuando no los ordenamos. Y hay un tren completo que no podemos encontrar.
¿Lo vieron?
Podría ser que los vagones se hubieran desenganchado.
¡No! ¡Pasó por aquí abajo!
¿Lo vio o no lo vio?
Es que el tren no puede ser visto.
Esta vez lo tenemos.
Es mucho más que una película de suspenso. Es un verdadero juego de ingenio. Es un viaje inesperado, con un final sorprendente. Moebius, un desafío a tu imaginación.
It all started when Gustavo read A Subway Called Moebius, written by the American astronomer A.J. Deutsch in 1952. It tells the story of a subway train that mysteriously disappears after crossing a tunnel built following the rules of a particular mathematical theory. Mosquera recognized the opportunity to speak about other, more controversial themes through this story. The interest shown by Manuel Antin, Chancellor of the University of Cinema where Mosquera taught, was definite. He proposed they produce the film within the framework of the college, creating a legitimate cooperative. Submerging the students in the real-life rigor required in a professional feature film situation would put their knowledge to the test and confront them with new information. And that is how Mosquera embarked on the task of staging a film that aimed high.
El tamaño del set.
The size of the set was more than 350 feet, and in this one abandoned station we had to work with, we constructed 3 stations that in reality did not exist. These had to match the ones that did, because the staging of the story required that we move from the constructed stations to the real ones, within the same scene. Work was done to restore the walls, paint all of them again, work on endless nooks and crannies, paint and repaint to create a new station in the same place. This took a lot of effort and coordination from the group that worked with me.
Esto llevó mucho esfuerzo y mucha coordinación de todo el grupo que trabajaba conmigo.
A tribute to Borges' tangled world was created in one sequence packed with the density of Borges' labyrinthic atmospheres. I believe that the biggest difficulty was the size of the project, the size of locations, the size of everything, and of course, time. On the one hand, it was the most difficult, but on the other, it was the best. Because for me, of all the movies that we could have done, this was the one that we could most profit from. I believe it was a challenge, and like in any challenge, one learns a lot more. You lose more things, but you learn a lot more, and personally, well, that's how I feel. That challenge included a risky staging of the camera. Another one of the interesting and enriching experiences of the movie was just that, placing the cameras in all kinds of places. We counted on Gustavo's ability to use his creativity to know where to place them, along with Maria Angeles Mira's father, one of the film's producers, who in his factory crafted all of these types of devices. And what was most incredible was that in these grips we placed real old cameras, aside from the Arriflex 2C that we used as the main one. It was incredible to mix images taken from various cameras, blending them, seeing how well the material combined. Later, we would talk about this at the festivals, and nobody could believe it.
Inclusive en los festivales se ha mostrado y no se podían creer.
3 days producing short takes, a few seconds at a time, made up the 18 final seconds in which the train pursues Pratt. I believe the Moebius experience will be a difficult one to replicate. To work so intensely, so involved. We will do everything possible to make it happen again, but it was sheer magic. Never having had any experience before the camera, Annabella Levy, only 10 years old, was selected by Gustavo 3 days before the shooting began. I feel different, real different, seeing myself on the big screen and knowing that I am so small. Filmed on a very cold night, Annabella had to suffer and act as if the night were scorching hot. A lot of fear and apprehension to climb so high in such a small car. The first time I went up was with Gustavo, the director. I felt I was going to die. I was so scared. It was the first time I ever went up in a roller coaster. And it was a challenge for all of the actors. Difficult to comprehend and essentially understand the source from which the entire movie stems from. We had many conversations with Gustavo. Long conversations. Gustavo's conversations usually are. Talking about explanations and of how the film scenario was born and what is really being said in the movie, I think it definitely clarified the big picture for me. And so other difficulties don't strike me. I think that was the most important, to come to an exact understanding of what we were talking about.
No se me ocurre, creo que esa fue la más importante, llegar a entender exactamente de qué estábamos hablando. ¿A qué le teme Pratt?
Al vértigo.
¿Es normal? Nadie puede enfrentarse al infinito sin sentir vértigo. Nadie puede experimentarlo sin sentir un desconcierto profundo.
While the city slept, the camera was mounted aboard a train which moved slowly through the tunnels while the camera captured the journey at different speeds. That material was then transferred to video, and a back projection mounted on one side of the parked train, creating an illusion of movement. This is how the scene where Pratt and the professor talk was constructed. They dialogue in a train that reaches incredible speeds without ever having moved 1 inch from the station. The secret consisted in using old film cameras. For only $100, Gustavo purchased an old 1926 Kinamo that held only 1 minute of film. With the help of Ricardo Galloso, an old schoolmate, both designed an intervalometer that, once it was hooked up to the small camera, allowed them to use the time-lapse technique in the small places where professional cameras would not fit. Another one of his friends, Adrian Sinclair, designed an electronic circuit for the Arriflex 2C that worked at any speed, eliminating the flicker normally produced by the fluorescent tubes that were used to light the tunnels. Specifically, I am in charge of the wardrobe, and up until now, things are going well, and God willing, they'll continue to turn out fine. We're sweating a bit, but we're happy.
Justo se les ocurre cambiar de edificio. Lo habrán hecho a propósito. Perdone, ¿qué licitación me dijo?
La última, la del perimetral.
A ver, déjeme pensar. Creo que por aquí vamos bien. 31, 32, 33, 34. Ya hubo otras mudanzas.
The geometrical maze of the archive sequence is where Escher's influence manifests itself. The director creates a tribute to him by personifying the archivist just as Escher depicted his own father in this etching. Gustavo, the director, bought himself a 35mm camera a year before filming Moebius. And one day he was testing it on the terrace with the intervalometer, and those who saw the film will have noticed that it is full of these effects. And that day, there was a terrible storm, and he put the camera on the terrace and filmed it. My mother asked me, "How did you do the lightning? It looks so real." We'll look at it again to see if it's organized. The first big problem that we ran into was with one of the scenes that now is the one that I like the most in the movie, where the lead actor explains to the rest of the characters his theory about the Moebius strip. This was a scene that was difficult to shoot because it contained a lot of situations. 7 characters, all of them speaking to each other, glances, laughter, gestures, words. I think that in the 8 minutes that make up the scene, there are more than 150 cuts.
Pero creo que el nuevo ramal ha llevado la conectividad de todo el sistema a un orden tan alto que no sé cómo calcularlo. Supongo que ha llegado a ser infinito. De ser así, señores, podríamos deducir que el sistema se comporta como una cinta de Moebius.
84 different camera angles achieved in 17 hours of work on a heated December 31st. It was just as hard to develop the screenplay. I remember the first scene I ever wrote with Gustavo Mosquera. We were alone. It was the scene where Pratt enters Mistain's apartment. It took a long afternoon, and it took its toll on me. But I think I finally discovered that we could become a good team, although I think that it took a lot out of both.
Abril, ¿estás ahí? Shh. Abrime la puerta. ¿Con quién estás? Salí por acá.
The apartment's visual richness was achieved with 4 partitions on a small set, with a lot of scenic elements brought from the homes of each participant, including the cat, of course.
Más te vale que estés solo. Te tengo dicho que no quiero. Abril. Abril, abrime. Abril. Abril.
We had such little money that we couldn't rent any of the locations. It was impossible to secure the use of a building's roof free of charge, and so the actors were forced to act on a makeshift staircase leaning against the wall of another location.
Listo. Listo, Fede. Sonido. Anda. Cámara. Parque. Acción, Guille. Dale la verdad. Ahora. Corte. Vamos otra. A vela.
Dale, vamos.
Espera.
Y esta cosa también tan diferente del
I
teatro,
think
donde,
that this
bueno, el
is so
teatro
unlike
está
the
todo el tiempo
theater,
presente, ¿no?
where the actor is in
Donde
present
el actor
time,
está
sharing the same time with the
compartiendo ese
audience.
mismo tiempo con el público. Y
On the
acá,
other
bueno,
hand, this thing,
esta cosa
this
de que la
camera,
cámara
it's
como
like a mediator
mediadora
where we have to get good
de
at
este ojo
knowing
que
what that
uno tiene
eye is focused
que
on.
acostumbrarse a saber qué es lo que está mirando.
The precision of the film reveals a grand strategy and much effort on the part of everyone involved. The specialized trade magazine Variety said, "Picture looks as cold, clear, and cerebral as the theorem it brings to life, and is clearly the work of people who have an academic interest in cinematic purity. Chilling blue subway hues collide with intimately shot textures of human skin. The challenge of filming a train as it hurtles through infinity is bravely and dizzyingly attempted. Tech credits, particularly sound and special effects, are superb."
Bueno, tuvimos que empezamos a...
We designed the sound with Gustavo and began making a sound map in which we clearly outlined where everything was placed. Each moment, every second of the movie, we knew that things would happen here or there. If music went there, how would the sounds be? We wanted something dense, continuous off-screen sounds that were heavy and mechanical.
Algo denso, que todo el tiempo con movimiento en los subterráneos, con sonidos fuera de campo, todo el tiempo que haya sonidos o que jueguen, que sean importantes y sonidos pesados, mecánicos. Yo creo que es bueno, es positivo.
I believe that it is positive and good that we obsessives came together to create the sound for this movie. Gustavo, Marcos, and me, a group of obsessive people that would not leave sound up to the last minute.
Un grupo de obsesivos que no dejaba pasar ningún detalle y bueno, todo el tiempo replanteándose.
Even till the end, up until the last second, if the sound of some small paper was hanging or was missing, we would take time to put it back in.
Sonido de un papelito que había quedado colgado o que no aparecía, se hacía.
Podría ser que los vagones se hubieran desenganchado. Por favor, ¿nos pueden explicar qué está pasando?
La encendida. Hay como un sonido que es un clac.
It's the clack. The clack is too high and the rest of the sound is lower. The film was faithfully and carefully dubbed, the work of long hours and much patience.
Pero si será jodido, como si esto fuera una pavada.
As if this was easy, I asked him not to leave me stranded.
Hay una diferencia tonal entre la primera frase y la segunda.
There's a difference in tone between the first phrase and the second. The first you gave it a low energy level, and on the second you go up. You should really say it all like the second. Okay, I got it.
Pero si será jodido, como si esto fuera una pavada. Le pedí por favor que no me largara en banda.
Lo más difícil que se me planteó fue...
What was most difficult to establish was that the music for this movie be absolutely special, something I wish for all of my work. I felt that this movie was absolutely new in the history of our cinema. I knew that the music needed to be at the same level. A year prior to the beginning of the shoot, Gustavo contacted Silvio Killian, a specialist in medieval music, and researched all kinds of Gregorian chants. When Núñez West became involved, he was asked to develop the music score using that style. Gustavo requested he use the mellotron, an instrument of the 70s which simulates a chorus of voices. He was absolutely convinced that this musical blend would transport the audience to a place where the past is the present, where time becomes immaterial. After 2.5 long years of tremendous effort and dedicated work, the result is excellent, but the road left to travel is not easy. With Gustavo at the helm of the ship, María Ángeles Mira steering the production, and a team of 45 students sorting out an endless amount of problems, Moebius, the film, was a reality. The critics noted the exceptional nature of the film, as well as its suggestive content, and their support was unanimous. The few articles in newspapers and magazines highlighted the work of the students. The process and the result was so atypical that some festivals didn't know what to make of it. In San Sebastián, for instance, the catalog spoke of 50 co-directors and announced the impossibility of inviting them all to the festival. At the Festival of Cartagena, even the Chancellor figured in as director of the film. But it didn't take long for the rewards to start coming. The film was shown as part of a distinguished section at the SUNDANCE Film Festival. At the Festival of La Habana, the young student Abel Peñalba won Best Cinematography, and the student Martín Grinassi was awarded the prize for Best Sound. In Puerto Rico, the film received the Young Filmmakers Award, as well as the FIPRESI. It won Best Script and the International Critics Award at Huelva. It was later invited to the Forum at Berlin, where the organizers were forced to add screenings of the film, likewise at the San Francisco Festival. But the top honor came with the invitation from Lincoln Center and the Museum of Modern Art in New York, where the film was shown at the festival New Directors, New Films, as one of the 25 new discoveries of 1997. But the question still remains. Why Moebius?
Moebius es lo que está expresado en el final de la película.
Moebius is what's expressed at the end of the film. Moebius is the pain felt for all those who left, who had something to say, something important, and were never given the chance or place to say it, or never had anyone who would listen, because political power works in strange ways. Moebius is basically that, the pain of feeling, which represents my country, represents Argentina. A country that's been riding on a Moebius strip for many, many years, crossing the same spot time and time again, perhaps not even aware that it's doing that. Moebius is part of my life, a part of me. Moebius is me, searching just like Pratt, looking, searching deep inside, in his mind, in his teachers, in all he's ever learned. looking to be able to tell my truth, like everyone else, trying to inscribe it forever in films, which is the thing I can really do passionately. So meanwhile, while the next project finds the light, I think it's wise to listen to my characters.
Así que mientras tanto, mientras el próximo proyecto termina de gestarse, creo que lo más sabio es hacerle caso a los personajes.
No puede ser que todo esto se pierda.
Ni los hombres ni el tiempo desaparecen sin dejar huellas. Quedan fijados en nuestras almas.
Mathématique, ou plus exactement topologique. Moebius nous emmène dans un métro de Buenos Aires.
C'est une vieille caméra 35 mm de 1926.
Well, there is a Planet Fest going on at the Pasadena Convention Center this weekend.
In the making, as we begin to peel back the coverings on knowledge.
This three-day event was organized by the Pasadena-based Planetary Society.
1,000 people clapped and cheered when they heard Mission Control report the Pathfinder had safely landed on Mars.
For this, the train is going to